country, talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. And I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley. And I hear Brother Martin King say, God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. It's been so good to me. Then I see as Dr. King went on, another man stepped into the forefront by the name of John F. Kennedy, who rose up and said, let's not stand back. Let's not wait for a handout. Let's wait for a way out. He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God done smile on us. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Pick it up. God has smiled on me. He's been I feel it. Then I went on by backstage at the Apollo Theater and I saw a man come out. They call him the King of Soul, James Brown. And James Brown said, Reverend, don't you worry. I started out as a shoe shine boy. I started out as a convict. I started out uneducated. But I learned to sing my song. And I sung it all over the world. I told him it was a man's world. I told him about the big payback. I told him Papa got a brand new bag. And all over the world, they can hear my voice. But Reverend, don't you frown. Don't you bow your head. Tell him what you told me, Brother Brown. I said, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to scream, y'all. I want to scream, y'all. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's been good to me. Let me tell you, God has smiled on me. He has set me free. God has smiled on me. He's so good to me. Let me tell you, God has everybody, sometimes, He has set God Almighty, I feel so good. Oh yeah, one more time. Yeah. Every day of my life, I feel it. He gives me strength and energy. Helps me to sing. He's been good to me. Oh yeah. This is Reverend Al Sharpton of Brooklyn, New York. I've been traveling around the country talking to the radio announcers, the church people and the street people, telling them that God has smiled on me. God has smiled on you if you got breath in your body, if He woke you up this morning and started you on your way. And I want to tell you some stories of people that God smiled on. We know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King, how he started way back in Montgomery, Alabama in 1955, trying just to get dignity, trying to get respect. And he went all the way to the mountaintop. But he didn't forget about the brothers in the valley. He didn't forget about those trapped in the alley.
It's Thursday, August 7th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, it's time to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, and fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to all of you across the country, and good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to all those listening to us on Sirius XM Channel 126, Urban View, where talk empowers and becomes action. I'm Dominique Sharpton. I'm Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, and I'm sitting in for the Rev. Rev is traveling today. He is speaking today and joining a group of leaders and activists in Martha's Vineyard, where he will be having a very important discussion on the vineyard today with Jasmine Crockett and many others. And certainly also we'll be traveling from there to Chicago. So Rev is on the move. But I'm certainly sitting in the hot seat and taking your calls across the country. Got a lot to talk about today, and certainly want all of you to stay involved and stay in the action. So certainly join in on today's conversation. You can call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. You can also join us in discussion via live stream on our website, nationalactionnetwork.net, and watch the show today live. We got a lot going on and a lot to talk about. Certainly want to definitely keep the issues and everything that we need to really be aware of. Keep that at the forefront of discussion and at the forefront of our agenda for action. We know that certainly we need to continue to not only be aware of the issues and to talk about where we stand and how we can continue to be involved or stay active or be of, real substance in this moment, right? We know that we have each other and we've got the momentum of the moment, and we know that the fervor of the people to be really committed, right, to making a difference. We know that that starts with us, and certainly we are committed to the causes and committed to standing up and speaking out, and we got to talk about what is going on. Also, later on in today's show, we will be joined by, of course, Sister Jennifer Jones-Austin, as we are joined every Thursday, and want to talk about, of course, this issue of the Texas Democrats. Will they succeed in preventing a redistricting vote? Is the Texas governor going to be correct in stating what they are doing that is illegal, and what seriously are the potential consequences for these Democrats? And certainly we got issues that we want to, of course, bring into this conversation. The firing of the BLS commissioner raises alarms, of course, about politics and economic data collection. So we want to talk about why that firing has been disturbing, and certainly our political wonka, as they call her. We love Sister Jennifer and certainly always look forward to her analysis. But also want to talk about, as we are preparing, all roads, of course, are leading on August the 28th to the March on Wall Street. And I know that Reverend Sharpton and many others are doing a lot of mobilization and outreach as we are really organizing for the march. And so we are just a few weeks away, everyone. But we know that we will be joined by clergy and activists and labor leaders and so many students and others who will be joining us for this massive march on Wall Street. And certainly, as we know that all roads will, of course, lead to the heart of the financial district, as we will stand collectively for the protection of diversity and equity and inclusion. And while also demanding that corporations live up to their own promises. And so we're putting everyone on notice. If you don't respect us, we won't support you. And as we are talking about many things that are happening as the Trump administration has dismantled DEI within the federal government and puts even more pressure on universities and companies to do the same, we must push back. And certainly this March on Wall Street, we know is going to be taking place on Thursday, August the 28th. But we know that this March on Wall Street is definitely something that we are doing to not only commemorate a lot of the work that has been done to get us where we are, commemorating the 60th anniversary of the Voting Rights Act, where we are dealing with the fact that we now have the liberties to have even free speech or the right to vote or the right to teach our children the way that we want, and to apply for that health care, to make that application for that dream job that we always wanted. So we have some liberties that we fought for that we celebrate. And this march is not only commemorating moments where we have had to stand up in the past collectively to fight for justice and fight for our rights, but we also know that the right forward is for us to continue to stand up and do what is right and to come out and to raise our voices. And so we hope that everyone is going to join us at the March on Wall Street on August 28th. You can go to the website, nationalactionnetwork.net, and get the information. But you can also just make a commitment in whatever you're doing to really amplify our voices, to stand up and speak out. And certainly, President Donald Trump is up to it and doing things, and we know that we also want to talk about that. I want to talk about this unleashing of this new wave of tariffs. Of course, shipping import taxes on nearly every major U.S. trading partner, European Union, Japan, and South Korea facing 15% tariffs, while countries like Taiwan and Canada and Brazil are hit even harder. And India punished with the 50% tariff for continuing to buy oil from Russia. Trump is saying that this is about fixing the trade deficit and protecting the United States' national security. But the reality is that higher tariffs will likely drive up prices on goods from semiconductors to pharmaceuticals to lumber. And even in Switzerland, that got hit with the highest developed nation rate of 39% after failing to strike the deal. So with a shaky U.S. or China truce set to expire next week, and President Trump now threatening 100% tariffs on semiconductors, this evolving trade war could further strain global relations and hit America's wallets even harder. So we got a lot to talk about. And as President Trump is bragging that there are billions in tariffs that are now flowing in the U.S., at what term cost is he talking about that? Got a lot to deal with, got a lot to talk about, but what are y'all doing? What are y'all thinking about? This is where we are. This is America. This is sincerely the ramifications of what we put in. This is the work that we put in. This is what we're getting out. How far are we going to go? How far is the American people going to have to suffer, to deal with, all of this that is abrupting around us? 1-877-532-5797. Good afternoon to everyone. Oh, it's Policy Day. Bruce Turner is saying hello to you. Good afternoon to all those who are listening and watching us on live stream. I see ya. Thank you so much, and welcome to Keeping It Real. Reverend Sharpton is in Martha's Vineyard. He may be calling us to tell us what's been going on out there, but we've got Texas going on. We've got uh, things to talk about as it relates to what the president is doing with these tariffs. What do you feel about it? How are we going to continue to unite and stay active in these moments, to continue to persevere and be about real change if we don't stand up and be actively involved? So yes, the march on the march on Wall Street, as we marched in Washington, right, in the 60s and many years after that for jobs and justice. But yes, that march on Wall Street is important. Yes, it is important for us to really raise the agenda as it relates to how corporations are going to be held accountable for what they say and what they do if they're taking our dollar and spending our money on what we need to be provided for and what we need to be invested in. It matters. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. It's Dominique Sharpton. I'm sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls across the country, also taking your comments via live stream. Let's talk about it. Let's be about it. Let's keep it real. We'll be right back.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves to the person, but they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans, they export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's why they named it Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, they built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Hey, what's up? They're doing, thank you. They're doing What's on Your Mind? Yeah. All right, then, we got a birthday this week. I got to talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday's today.
Yeah, and I got to tell Reverend Bird, be ready, Daniel, 5th chapter, I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what, half hour?
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready. Make sure you operate on time or I'll tell them how old you are.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me thank Charlie King, Dr. Richardson. Most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today. The Urban Action Network. I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. But I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Moseley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders. And I'm proud to acknowledge that debt that I owe. I appreciate Reverend Sharpton for being a voice for the voiceless and a champion for the dispossessed. And as we saw last week, he's still on the front lines, fighting a good fight. And we are thankful for his energy and his willingness to challenge the conventional wisdom. I'm also thankful that Reverend Sharpton has built this organization because what he understands is that change in America doesn't happen from the top down. Change happens from the bottom up. Change happens when millions of voices set the agenda and hold those in power accountable.
Everywhere I go, whether it's in rallies and community gatherings or churches, on my radio show, people are saying the Democrats need to fight back. They're not standing hard on the issues. It's time to not let Trump continue to control the narrative. And that is what I'm raising tonight. Democrats need to stand up and fight back. And don't give an inch on the Epstein files. He promised his followers he'd come with the files. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I didn't know anything about farming. But my mother was from Alabama. She took my sister and I to see our grandmother once in Alabama. And as we walked around a little farm, she told me, I'll tell you something about farming. You see that pen of hogs over there? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, if you throw a brick in a pile of hogs, the one that hollers is the one you hit. Every day since this whole thing came up, I've been hearing hollering from Donald Trump.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand.
Who are joining the conversation via live stream, and you can also join us via live stream, nationalactionnetwork.net. Got a lot to talk about and want to hear from you. Turn me down a little bit, please, so I can hear the people. And want to talk to y'all. We'll also be joined momentarily by Sister Jennifer Jones Austin. So I see Brother Anthony is already holding on, and I'm going to get you, Brother Anthony, into the conversation. But we also want to iterate that we have this march on Wall Street that's going on. You can go to the website, nationalactionnetwork.net. People were writing in the chat for the information, so I wanted to make sure to mention that for you. So thank you so much for raising that information. But yes, nationalactionnetwork.net has the information for the march on Wall Street if you're interested in joining us in New York on Thursday, August the 28th. Anthony, I'm coming to you, listening to us from New York. You're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. I was just wondering, because I live in the Bronx, New York, and it's a very bad situation with the LGBT community. And I was wondering, will there be hopeful that they'll be doing things for us?
When you say bad, what do you mean? You're talking about safety, or
Well,
what in particular?
well, yeah, I live in 170th and Webster Avenue, which is, not the best of neighborhoods to be walking around at night. And I would just wanted to know if they're going to be having more police, because we heard that they wanted to fund the police.
I don't know if you're trying to bait a specific. Could you turn me down? If you're trying to bait me, specific response. I am not a policymaker.
No,
I understand.
that's no,
Can
no,
I, let
that's
me let me
that's
let
the
me
question.
let me. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
You asked the question. Let me answer
And my
it.
last question, I just have one other question, if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Yeah.
Um,
This your show
yeah.
now.
Well, yeah. Well, no, no, no. I have a daughter that listens in, and the cursing that was going on wasn't very nice. But okay. Freedom of
Cursing?
speech, right? Uh, I was just wondering also,
What cursing was
will
going on?
anybody be? I think you were cursing before. Were you talking
Cursing?
about it, Stephen A. Smith?
No, you were not. I was never cursing. I don't think you have
Oh,
the
okay.
wrong show. Definitely
Yeah,
wrong
I'm
show.
sure.
Yes,
Yeah,
it
let's
is.
get him out of here.
All right, I let you hang on, but I really don't know what you're talking about. I was never cursing on Keeping It Real or any show for that matter. But thank you for your call. Let's go to Rick. Rick from Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real. What's going on, brother?
How you doing, sis?
All right.
Well, the FCC allows a few curse words, so I'm sure if you did say something, it was within the bounds of the FCC. Um, but that's neither here nor there. I called to talk about Jasmine Crockett.
Yes.
At 44, 45 years of age, this young woman is in a powerful position in Texas, and they're going to take that away from her. And if we don't come out to vote in 2026 and 2028, they're going to take away more than Jasmine Crockett. I'm done, sis.
No, I hear you. And Jasmine is I'm sorry for those who are also experiencing the audio issue as I'm experiencing. So please forgive me. I hope that we get this right. Sorry for those who are online. I'm hearing the same audio issues. But no, I hear. I think that and Rev is meeting with and talking with Jasmine Crockett today in Martha's Vineyard. They're having a conversation, and I think it's important to continue to not only uplift, but also to pay close attention, right, to how our leaders and those that are emerging and coming amongst us, right, to really galvanize and energize people, towards really activating towards these causes and getting us somewhere, like really getting some real legislation and getting some real valuable causes in front of, where it needs to go for us to get some progress here. So I think it's important. I also think that, if we're talking about, the Governor Westmores or the Stacey Abrams, or the Jasmine Crockett's, or even, the Reverend Sharptons, we have to be intentional with, what is happening, right? And how their influence or their voice is valuable to the conversation in terms of how we're going about change. And that's what it is. The target of change, is definitely something that we have to pay attention to. They're all going to be targeted, right? Because they're trying to invoke change. They're trying to really push an agenda for us to, to do things that are going to value us and to push us forward. And so we have to not only protect them, but we also have to keep talking about these things that are going to really affect us a great deal and affect our families, and how we are going to really take these things and apply them to our lives and apply them to what we do every day to really stay on the front lines for change, because we're all doing things collectively and individually. So we all have to really acknowledge that, right? And to continue to honor that, acknowledge that, but to continue to manifest that so that we can continue to grow in various spaces that we need to. So thank you so much for your call. I didn't know Anthony, I'm going to call him brother, Anthony from New York. I don't know where you were going there, but it just really goes to speak to, the value that we really have to take value and pride in what we're doing and in our conversations and how we impact people and how we resonate with one another. So Anthony, I don't know if, you called to be divisive today, or if you called to set an agenda to cause some discourse on keeping it real. But I hope that, if you do want to have a real discussion, or you do want to talk about some of the ramifications and perils that the LGBTQ community are facing, especially in this city of New York, we can definitely have that conversation, because it is definitely something that we are continuing to raise in major volumes, and we need to continue to do things to activate real change as it pertains to the safety, as it pertains to the health care and access to, valuable health care, as it pertains to mental health and mental health opportunities for resources and mental health that is lacking in our community. So there's a myriad of different things that we need to continue to elevate in conversation and in activity for us to move forward. So I hope that you were serious about that and that we can continue that conversation in a meaningful way. Keeping it real. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be
of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves to the person, they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. It's Africans with logs and trees. They built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care, and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying, if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell it. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev. Rev is traveling. He's speaking today in Martha's Vineyard and then heading on to Chicago. But I am in the hot seat for the Rev, taking your calls across the country. You can certainly join in on today's conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can certainly just tune in via live stream and go to our website and tune in to the discussion, as they say, in the chat. Let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Mike. Mike is listening to us from Georgia on WAOK. Mike, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
How you doing, Ms. Sharpton?
All right, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. I just want to talk about qualified immunity really quick.
All right.
And one way that I think we can defeat qualified immunity is to overrepresent, meaning African American males can overrepresent in law enforcement. We only make about 14, almost 15% of the population, but it's also about the same as in the police force as well. The reason why I think that we overrepresent is because they never want us to have anything. And if there's more, or there's the perception of more of us being law enforcement, I think that'll go a long way towards them getting rid of qualified immunity, because they don't want what happens to us to happen to them at the hands of law enforcement.
No, you're right. And this is why, and continuing to, and we have our quarrels, right? And our discrepancies about fighting for, legislation like that George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. But when you have these discussions and you have these things where qualified immunity becomes an issue in discussion on whether someone deserves justice, or whether someone, I guess that's the wrong word, whether someone whether someone receives justice, as we're talking in the court of law, or as we're talking even, to get to where we can get someone even brought up on charges for, these horrific, unfortunate incidences that lead to death. But I think that, these concerns have to continue to be raised, and I think that it's important that we continue to pinpoint exactly how we do that. So thank you for that. I'm trying to read some of y'all's comments in the chat as well. Oh, Rev calls y'all the message board. Thank you so much for putting that out. Rev calls y'all the message board. So the message board, I'm trying to read some of y'all's comments, but y'all seem to be going at each other. So let's talk about what's going on. Let's talk about these issues here. Let's talk with Jomo, listening to us online too, though, listening to us from Buffalo. Jomo, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
All right, good afternoon, Dominique. You're doing a great job, and I just want to talk about something that I know is important to you. This whole Buffalo, Niagara Falls region, and the importance of the Underground Railroad. I'm going to come back to it at the end of what I'm going to say. I think that as people around the nation, especially these listeners, are talking about reparations, we're talking about voting rights, we're talking about the March on Wall Street, which was one of the beginnings of where this slave foundation in America was established. We are now, I want to just show you, there's an article, the reason I called is, there's an article in Newsweek today that was published about 4 hours ago by Dan Gooding, and the title says, FBI to aid Texas in locating Democrats over redistricting. That sounds to me, because I know history, like the Fugitive Slave Act. So we're actually legally watching some pre-Civil War like type behavior again taking place. And it's interesting that a place like New York State, who now has a governor that comes from Buffalo area, but is also listening to the different assembly and state leaders that are protecting democracy as well as the right for black people to be represented. So if there ever was a time to be woke and ready and boots on the ground, I think it's now. And I think that we should really pay attention and actually be happy to be in a state like New York where so many people are woke and ready and probably won't go to sleep because we know a little too much. So thank you for this show, and I hope
Thank you
everybody
so much. And
pay attention.
yeah, thank you for your call. And my mom is from Niagara Falls, New York. So
I know, that's why I said it.
so I know all about it. I know all about it. And certainly, I think that your points about the redistricting conversation, though, I think is very important. And as we're talking about Texas as well, and things that are going on, if they start redrawing the lines, our liberties, in terms of how we got here, got the right to vote, got the right to end segregation and many other liberties that we stood up for and won, because we stood up. But in these moments also, they start redrawing the lines, they start reevaluating and drawing, the funding and the resources, and then communities are wiped out and literally forgotten and literally diminished because of the power that they're trying to control and do. So it is really dangerous, and I think that bringing that up into the conversation is important because I think that we're forgetting about some of the elements of how these things are coming about and how we how we play a role, like even to the point of filling out our senses and doing things where they're literally taking these results and using them against us, using them to re-railroad us and push us out of our communities and push us out of our neighborhoods. And so I think that is valuable to the conversation, but I also think that, it's happening at such a rapid pace. And it's happening if we, don't open our eyes, we going to be asleep and they're going to be pushing us up out the door. And we're going to be trying to figure out, well, what's going on. So I think that's really important. And so thank you for bringing that up. Y'all not ready in the message board, I see. Okay. Let's talk with Frank from the West Side, listening to us from Chicago. Frank, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. Frank, are you there?
Yes, yes. There's the bell. It took like 30 seconds for the bell. We gotta wait for the bell, though. My sister, how you doing?
Okay. How are you?
I'm okay too. Right now, I'm dealing with a little personal medical situation. I'm pulling through, but that's neither here nor there. I just had to call in because I haven't talked to you in a while and say hi to you.
Yes, sir.
Just because I haven't called in does not mean I'm not listening. I'm listening every day.
I
The
appreciate that.
thing with Jasmine Crockett and like the whole thing what you were saying, like they redrawing the line and redistricting all the stuff, but the key word is they doing it illegally. It's just for be done once every 10 years, okay?
Right.
You know, of course, you know the algorithm. I'm just talking in generally. Once every 10 years after the census, right? But see, the way they doing it, you can't you can't redraw the line when you see yourself and lose the House or maybe the House and the Senate in the upcoming election. So this is what they're trying to say. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
What they are saying, this is illegal. And then they try to compare with J.B. Pritzker and Democrats as they redraw their line, but they do it legally. They do it according to the Constitution. So let's not get it twisted. What they are doing is illegal, and I think those Democrats who left that state, they did the right thing, because this is absolute nonsense, because they know they're finna get beeswax. Our girl Jasmine Crockett, she is a true soldier. She like, you are my sister. And for a sidetrack right quick, I think that guy who called in and accused was saying that he heard cursing. Probably, I think he got your show mixed up with Rhoda Martin Unfiltered show. And he got you mixed with the old girl. He probably watching that. And overnight, he got it, you know what I'm saying, confused. But no, you do not curse.
Okay.
Well, now Sharpton do not curse. So you handle him right. Let me say this about Jasmine Crockett. She is a true soldier. And I'm going to tell you just like this. You Democrats that's in these safe seats, and I know y'all listening, in these blue states, you ought to be ashamed of yourself by letting this sister stand out alone and be the strongest voice, because you know she's in a red state. You know they're going to try to come after her the same way they did Show Beasley in Florida when she was taking down Marco Rubio. What did Ron DeSantis do? He juryman her out of her district. Okay? You know they're going to come back to. I do believe that this was the true target when they redraw these lines, and Donald Trump said, oh, yeah, while you're over there, while we're doing this, let's pick up 5 more seats, period, so we won't lose the House. You see, this is the same kind of principle that he did when he called down to Georgia to try to get that guy to find him 11,000 votes. Remember? During the election where he lost?
That's
11,000, some, 70, but it's the same principle. So basically, and they bound down to him. I think Jasmine Crockett should, whatever district she falls in, she should still rerun for her seat, and she might get surprised, because Republicans and these MAGAs, they're hurting too.
That's right.
I think I'm hoping Juliana Stratton, because Dick Durbin, Dominic, Dick Durbin is stepping down. He's not rerunning. And I'm hoping our girl, Juliana Stratton, she's the African American sister. She's the lieutenant governor here, and she's getting a lot of support. Now, I'm hoping she step in if something does happen, Jasmine, and pick up what Jasmine left off at. And you Democrats, you need to start letting our sisters stand alone, or any Democrat that's in these Republican majority controlled state that step out like Jasmine Crockett does, they're going to come after her.
Yeah.
Okay? So you got to be there right side by side and doing the same thing she's doing, which will put in their mind what doesn't make what now we get her or not, you know what I'm saying? We still got this and this and this and this one, and we can't touch them.
Yeah.
But I think she was the true target, Dominique.
Yeah, but no doubt she's doing a good job. No doubt.
Yeah,
no doubt. And no doubt we need that voice, and we need to really protect and amplify and honor those voices as we continue to really get those issues we need elevated in the spaces that we know needs to be in. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for your call. Always a pleasure speaking with you, brother. I hear that music, so we're going to take a break. It's Dominique Sharpton. I'm sitting in for the Rev. We're taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us via live stream, nationalactionnetwork.net. But we'll be right back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Miss Sharp.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their home, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about it is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughters started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me of National Action Network and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Over the weekend, President Donald Trump called for Vice President Kamala Harris to be prosecuted, falsely claiming yet again that Harris paid for endorsements from celebrities during her 2024 presidential campaign. In a rant posted on social media, Trump claimed that Beyonce received $11 million, that Oprah got $3 million, and that the Reverend Al Sharpton took home $600,000 to endorse the then vice president. We have a couple questions for you on this, but let's just start most simply with the accusation that President Trump has leveled at you. Were you paid for an endorsement?
Well, absolutely not. And as the FEC filings say, they helped the campaign, gave funds for Get Out the Vote campaigns for National Action Network, of which I'm a part of, and other civil rights groups, some which got more than National Action Network did. National Action Network, nor I, even endorsed her. What is interesting about this, though, is that the fact that this is the, as you accurately reported, second or third time, lawyers for National Action Network was looking at, can we sue him for defamation? Because he had knowledge this time that there was no endorsement and that I didn't get any money. This went to the nonprofit that I'm connected to. But let's look at the larger picture here. Donald Trump is in very serious problems around this whole question of Epstein. So last week, he was trying to flood the zone to take any pressure off of him and try to put his MAGA base back together again. The fact is, he started by saying he's going to fire the Fed chief. That didn't work. Then he went on to something about tariffs. That didn't work. Then he decided to do what he started his political career on, start race baiting. Which was, he started with birtherism, that Obama wasn't born here. Then he went and released the files now last week of Martin Luther King Jr., some of which are very questionable, and the family was opposed to him doing it. That didn't work. The next day he goes after Barack Obama, saying he ought to be prosecuted. That didn't work. Then he tried something else. Then over the weekend, Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, Al Sharpton. The race card, the thread here is race, and that's what he's trying to do. They're swapping money. They're doing things like Obama was holding back with Russia. It's all about trying to get past Epstein. We have shown in National Action Network and other groups what we did and didn't do in the campaign. Even when I spoke at the convention, I said we don't endorse candidates. We have come with our files. Release the Epstein files, Mr. Trump. Do what we did or be quiet. Everywhere I go, whether it's in rallies and community gatherings or churches, on my radio show, people are saying the Democrats need to fight back. They're not standing hard on the issues. It's time to not let Trump continue to control the narrative. And that is what I'm raising tonight. Democrats need to stand up and fight back. And don't give an inch on the Epstein files. He promised his followers he'd come with the files. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I didn't know anything about farming. But my mother was from Alabama. She took my sister and I to see our grandmother once in Alabama. And as we walked around the little farm, she told me, I'll tell you something about farming. You see that pen of hogs over there? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, if you throw a brick in a pile of hogs, the one that hollers is the one you hit. Every day since this whole thing came up, I've been hearing hollering from Donald Trump. Something hit him. We need to see the files to see what it is. That does it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back here next weekend at 5 p.m. Eastern. But first, you can catch me tomorrow, Monday, on Morning Joe, right here on MSNBC, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern. The weekend primetime starts at the top of the hour.
Anita. I'll talk to you, sister. I'm always happy to talk to my sister Anita from listening to us from Chapel Hill. Anita, if you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
All right.
I'm from Chicago too, and I moved here because of the big. Well, I lived there all my life pretty much. I was born in Ohio, and my people is from Kentucky. So I'm used to red state. But what I'm angry about is I appreciate our young people coming up and speaking up, but I'm not trying to do business the way pagan-minded taskmasters do things, okay? I'm trying to do what Martin Luther King said about Christ and having a humanitarian world, okay? So that fast, slick business opportunity, I can say it faster than anybody else, and I'm going to snatch mine and run. That's not how I operate. So I love everybody that care, but I have to support people that believe in what Christ taught. Even though I'm Muslim, I believe Christ taught people to purify themselves before you go out here working with humanity so you can get the best out of it. And so I just wanted to say that about anybody young. I don't care if it's Jasmine. I ain't saying that's what her motives are, but I do have to watch her because she can create a problem for us because then you're going to wow the Confederate in if you're not doing what Christ said because then you have no protection, okay? And that's the only protection we have because you see money don't protect you, friendship don't protect you, none of older, younger, none of that protects you, okay? Because we're vulnerable to everything, sickness, war or whatever. And to keep pretending like that's terrible that they put a bomb threat in the hotel in Chicago where the Democrats were. And I'm going to say this and then I'm going to get off. There's something I'm forgetting, but I can't remember it right now. I'm still going to say over Pritzker, Rahm Emanuel, Shapiro, I still favor the civil rights movement because business and politics have let us down. It was civil rights that is bridging the line of peace in the whole world right now that Reverend Jesse Jackson continued on with Martin Luther King, right? And that's it. All this other stuff I'm not interested in, and I don't want to pay for the wars either. You want to be mad at somebody, you pick it out your pocket, kill your kids, but I'm not supporting it.
Thank you, Sister Anita. Always keeping it real. Always appreciate your call and analysis. 1-877-532-5797. Y'all in the message board, let me know if you can hear me. We're trying to fix these audio issues, so I want to make sure that y'all can hear the show because we keeping it real for sure today on this here show. Let's, yes, and Brother Rodney, I see you all up in the chat as well. Our mayor of Queensbridge, we call him, from New York. Thank you so much. And all those who are members of National Action Network. I see our leader, Lori Parks, in the chat as well. So y'all in the message board, talk to me if you can hear me. Let's go back to the phones, 1-877-532-5797. Harolad from Brooklyn. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. You're keeping it real. Did I pronounce your name correctly?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. My name is Haralda. Keeping it real.
All right. I love that.
Yes. Okay. Well, continuing with the topic of politics, we all need to understand that this government do not belong here or its laws. But continuing with what I have to say, today I was watching the news and I heard that Donald Trump is endorsing Andrew Cuomo. Andrew Cuomo is a Donald Trump supporter from day one, so I'm not surprised. He also got together with Trump to go after Letitia, our District Attorney Letitia, I can't remember, James.
Yes.
Letitia James. And as the mayor and Azani, I think his name is, they're the only relevant contenders in this race as far as I'm concerned.
The Democratic candidate, yes. Zohran Mamdani.
Yes. It's okay. Well, my thing is, everyone needs to go out and vote, of course, for the candidate that they endorsing. But for me, it's going to be Eric Adams because he already proven himself. His administration already proven himself that they are competent. They know exactly what they're doing with the little, what do I say, the little monetary money that was given to them from the government. They also went through a crisis within the 3 years, two crises, one with the disease and the other one with the people that were sent over here to ruin our economy, and also the fact that he was unlawfully I can't even think of the word indicted of something that was really didn't make any sense, but people trying to make a big deal out of something that didn't even have any real merit. I mean, but like I said, the main contenders is between Eric Adams and Mazzani. All the rest of them are relevant, and they need to go sit down. Have a good day, Dominique.
Thank
Bye.
you so much for your call. Thank you so much. And thank you for keeping it real. Well, we know who that sister is voting for. But certainly, I feel that, this race is certainly one that is going to be monumental for this city. I will say that. And I will say that it is going to really take an uphaul of us to really come together and really focus on how we're going to move the city forward. I feel that there are a lot of issues that need to be rectified, and we need to continue to really amplify that agenda for change, especially in the city. So whomever it is that is elected at the end of the day, I feel like they have a job at hand coming to them, because I feel like there's a lot going on in New York City and in so many other areas around the country. I know that Sister Mary Sheffield just clinched that primary in Detroit, running for mayor. So I want to congratulate her. And as we are seeing many candidates, so young people, really stepping up and running and really setting for an agenda for change. I think it's important for us to see, to acknowledge, and for us to really continue to do all that we can, right, to make sure that we're really stepping forward in the right direction. Because I think that's what it really, really boils down to at the end of the day, saving lives and how we can really improve what we've been fighting for so long. Because we have a lot going on at the top. And if you look at the agenda from what's going on at the top of government down to what's going on in our local communities, it's a lot, and it's a lot to deal with, right? But I think that it's important for us to really be involved from the local level all the way to the federal level. We have to be involved, and we have to know what's going on in order for us to really push that agenda for change. So I think that is important, and our local elections most certainly matter. And I feel like we are working hand in hand on pushing that agenda for change. Message board, I'm glad y'all can hear me. And Reverend Sharpton is not on today, Evangelist Ramsey, but thank you for stating, Evangelist said DEI was a turnout. I can't read that. The chat went away. Come on, help me out. DEI was a turnout at IRS 84th week. No justice, no peace. Yes, today is DEI Thursday. And so we are National Action Network, as we have been every Thursday for over 80 weeks now, outside of the office of Bill Ackman, standing up for DEI to stay alive. Diversity, equity, and inclusion certainly matters. We know that in that discussion, there are many things that are being said, that DEI is dead, that the terminology and the fixation on really pushing for the agenda to have diversity represented in our corporations across the board is a dead conversation. But we believe that we can continue to really raise that mantle for justice, raise that mantle for equality, and we feel that DEI matters and that DEI is very important as we continue the discussion, as we are continue to promote and push for the change that we want to see reflected in our lives and in our community. So thank you for standing on the lines for DEI and joining National Action Network, Chaplain Ramsey, for DEI Thursdays. I hear that music. Will be back with Sister Jennifer Jones Austin joining us. More of you on the phones. You can join us and join in on the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Good evening and welcome to Politics Nation. Tonight's lead, Rigging the Game. For the last 7 months, Donald Trump has approached the presidency like it's an extension of his golf game, bending, even breaking the rules to gain an advantage. This week, he fired a top government economist for putting out a disappointing jobs numbers as he tries to deny his escalating trade wars are rattling the economy. And he's pushing Republican lawmakers to gerrymander state voting maps ahead of the midterms, desperately looking for ways to blunt the political backlash from his policies in the upcoming midterm elections. Meantime, just days before the 60th anniversary, the John Roberts Supreme Court appears poised to deal another blow to the Voting Rights Act in a case that will determine the future of 2 black majority congressional districts in Louisiana. We've got a big show for you tonight. Let's dive in. Joining me now is Congressman Lloyd Doggett, Democrat of Texas. Congressman, thank you for joining us. Starting the night in Texas, where, as expected, just hours ago, the Texas House Redistricting Committee approved a new congressional district map drawn up by Republican lawmakers that targets Democratic-held districts around 3 major cities and in the southern part of the state. The map is Texas Republicans' attempt to satisfy the president's desire to pick up 5 more GOP seats in Congress in next year's midterms. And we learned today that it could get a full vote in the State House next week. In your case, Congressman, the map pits you against another House progressive, Congressman Greg Kasich, who we had on the show earlier this month to talk about this issue. As Texas Democrats figure out how to respond, what's your reaction?
Well, thank you so much, Reverend Al. It is always good to be on your program because you really tell it like it is. And America needs to know that, because I think most Americans do not realize that Donald Trump has a plan to win next year's elections by doing it this year. And what he ordered Texas to do was to produce 5 Republicans to replace 5 Democrats. This is the beginning. It's not the end of his campaign to take control of the House, to maintain the control so he has a compliant House. The Texas legislature took a big step in that direction today, and they will probably finalize it on Tuesday. What the impact is very dramatic, particularly on communities of color. We currently have 4 members of the delegation who are African American. After this bill becomes law, we will have 2. My friend Mark Vesey from Fort Worth and Dallas, no district. The district that the late Sylvester Turner had combined with Al Green down in Houston. There's also a big impact on Hispanic districts like the one you mentioned with my neighbor and friend Greg Casar, also on Sylvia Garcia down in Houston, all using race, once again, as Donald Trump so often does in other contexts, all using race to achieve his objectives and deny those seats. We have to engage in extraordinary tactics in order to defeat this plan. You know the power very well yourself of the sit-in during the civil rights movement and then the labor movement. It may be what we need here is a sit-out where if nothing else will work, some of the members choose not to participate in this outrageous scheme to preserve Donald Trump's one-man rule.
Now, and I remember not long ago, not too many years ago, some of the legislators, state legislators, left the state to try to block some things. But staying with that, Congressman, as Democrats chart their path forward nationally, some have argued the party needs younger leaders. With that, there's been a debate in the party about whether you should be running against Congressman Kasich, which would happen if the redistricting ultimately goes through. What's your response? Is this about age or is this about agenda?
You know, I was one who called early for President Biden to step aside because I was concerned about his electability, not his age, about his ability to respond during the debate, not his good heart. But I think we need people of all generations. We certainly want to reach out and include more young people, but we don't believe in discrimination based on age, and everyone has an opportunity and should have an opportunity to participate in our party. I want to emphasize also that this is not, as big as Texas is, it's not just a Texas issue. And we're very pleased that Governor Newsom, for example, is looking at how changes can be made in California to offset the losses in Texas. Our Texas state legislators have been traveling around the country. There's some other states from Maryland to Washington state that could be a potential. I wish that all states had nonpartisan citizen rather than gerrymandering. But if it's going to be wrong in Texas, there has to be some action from other states to respond to that so that Trump doesn't gain from his own wrongdoing while everyone else is trying to play nice.
No, and I've heard Governor Newsom in California, Governor Hochul in New York, others are looking at that. Some Democrats we've heard from have cautioned that a redistricting in Texas would weaken the Voting Rights Act, and you brought up race. But it also appears to be in danger of being further gutted in Louisiana, where the U.S. Supreme Court has asked lawyers in a dispute over the state's congressional map whether Louisiana violated the 14th and 15th Amendments trying to adhere to VRA. If the state is found in violation, it could lead to it and other states being barred from considering race in drawing their maps according to a voter rights campaign or complaint. How big of a crisis is this, Congressman?
It's a big one. It's a really big one. You know, Lyndon Johnson, my predecessor representing Austin, Texas, signed the Voting Rights Act in a way that was a result of blood, sweat, and tears of so many people to get that law in place. And now the Supreme Court has already destroyed part of it. They're focused on Section 2. What the immediate effect is that finally we have a second African American from Louisiana. We have a second African American from Alabama. They're both great members. And they prevailed last time, but their case is being challenged. Their status is being challenged, but it will go much wider than that. If Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is overturned or limited narrowly by the court, it really opens up every predominantly African American or Hispanic seat or Asian seat in the entire country. We face that, and we also face Republicans just growing out of the wrong that was done today in Texas, moving next to Missouri to take on my longtime friend Emmanuel Cleaver, who represents Kansas City so well, then perhaps going up to Indiana. They envision an action that they're taking state by red state. At the same time, they're challenging the Voting Rights Act in the court. That's why I say the Trump plan is to win next year's election this year, and we've got to put a stop to it.
Now, I want to get your take on the economic situation. Even some Republicans are expressing concern today after the president fired the Bureau of Labor Statistics commissioner after yesterday's disappointing job numbers. That firing came as the president was announcing yet another round of tariffs for over 60 countries. And it came even as we learned this week that
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today. Rev is in Martha's Vineyard. He's traveling and speaking today in Martha's Vineyard and then on to Chicago, but I'm sitting in the hot seat taking your calls across the country. We're keeping it real today, and you can join in on the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us on the message board in the chat on watching us via live stream. We'll be joined momentarily by Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, as we are every Thursday. I believe Sister Jennifer is also traveling, and she's going to be joining us momentarily, and we're always happy and honored to be joined by Sister Jennifer, so we're looking forward to that. Got a lot of people writing in the chat, and as this sister who was joining us from New York in her comments before the break, talking about this election in New York City, the mayoral election. I see that we got folks in the chat. Richard is chiming in saying, no way should Eric Adams or Cuomo should be trusted, especially since Taco Man is backing him. Taco Man has already tricked Adams, and Taco Man has had no conscience, character, or integrity. Man, y'all coming with new names for President Donald Trump every day. Richard's calling him Taco Man. But certainly, like I said, depending on no matter what you feel in terms of who you are choosing to vote for in the election, especially as it relates to New York City in this mayoral election. I know that we have an uphill battle here dealing with the city in terms of how things are happening, a lot of things that are going on, and certainly whether the current mayor continues to be the mayor or we get a new mayor in the city. I know that this work is a lot, all right, for whomever is going to be mayor. So I really hope that they have the agendas intact, because we coming in hot, and we got a lot going on, and we need a lot done, and going to hold this mayor to the highest accountability of getting those things done. So that's what I will say about that right now. I know that also letter writer is saying Nan's Youth Huddle and the wonderful opportunity for family involvement in living history is facilitated by Ashley Sharpton and you, Dominique. Professional expertise, more excellent each year. Thank you. So thank you, letter writer, for tuning in to Nan's Youth Huddle. We're on every Monday. You can tune in via live stream or join us live at the House of Justice in Harlem at 6:00 p.m. Let's go back to the phones while we're waiting for Sister Jennifer Jones to join us. We got a lot to talk about and certainly want to hear from you. I see Sister Carol listening to us from Cincinnati on the buzz is holding on. Carol, if you're there, you're keeping it real.
Dominique,
yes,
I
ma'am.
love you and your dad. I love you all so much.
Oh, thank you.
And you are doing a good job, sweetheart.
Thank you.
That person that called in and said that you cursed, no, you did not. I listen to you all every day. You did not. That is not the kind of show that you all run. Right. You don't do that. And he's trying to get some stuff started, is what it is. And then the lady that called and said that she's against Jasmine Crockett, well, guess what? Everything that's going to be positive, she's going to benefit from it. Mm-hmm. These people need to get their head on straight and pull together. When are we going to do that?
That's right.
Donald Trump is setting an example right now for us. All we need to do is be alert and look. They can stick together. Why can't we do it? All this negativity that's going on with us, it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And I always say, if you can't say anything positive, don't say nothing. Mm-hmm. And I love you all. I love you all, because without you, we're in trouble. We're in trouble. You are speaking for all of us, not just one, but for all of us. And I love you so much. I'm about to cry. So
Thank you, Carol. We love you too. Thank you for keeping it real. We need that passion, and I hear it in your voice. I know that we've got a lot of work to do, so I hope that I continue to do some things, some work, some good work, not only for the next generation, my son, and those that will follow, to have better opportunities and better resources. But thankful for people like you, who really do pour into people like me, right? To keep going. That's what it's all about. We've got to keep each other going, keep each other inspired. So thank you so much for your kind words, and for keeping it real, right? That's what it's all about. But I do feel, and as we are, in the month of August now, and people are, young people are getting ready to go back to school, and we're getting ready, parents are getting ready to worry again about, okay, well, how does the education system look this year? What's going to be happening in the curriculum, and things that, what's going to be happening in the infrastructure of the institution I'm sending my child to. It's a lot going on the education conversation, especially as well. And as we are talking about all these causes, right, that we care about, rather it relates to the inequalities, if anything that we can think of, that we're dealing with, from our health care to our benefits to what the government is trying to do in terms of imposing things on us that we don't necessarily even understand, but have to pay for ultimately, right? But what it is that we are dealing with, lacks of jobs, lacks of justice in our communities, lacks of resources as it relates to mental health and other things that we know we need, even coming out of this pandemic, and many other things that we've had to endure. But we know that we have each other. At the end of the day, I feel like the resurgence of our community and really tapping into each other, and what our needs are and how we can benefit and really help one another. I feel like it's time for us to really continue to do that, those tap ins. So thank you, Carol, for reminding us to do that, to tap in with each other, to check in on one another, because it makes a difference and it matters. And we don't know what we are each going through. Like each one of us that are listening under the sound of my voice, that are writing in the chat, that are dialing in to call in to engage in the discussion. We don't know what we're dealing with. But we know that we're all here for a reason, and we've got to make that reason count for sure. Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, I see, has joined us. I want her to chime in before we are going to our break and say good afternoon. Good afternoon to our dear sister. Thank you for joining us. I hear that you are traveling as well, so it is a pleasure to have you join us. Good afternoon, Sister Jennifer Jones Austin.
Hello, my sister, and happy belated birthday to you.
Thank you.
Look, you just getting finer and finer and finer. It's just a blessing to be with you. As I listen to you and to the caller, I couldn't help but think that, one of the things that we should take away from this moment is that if we never before appreciated that so much of what we as a people and as a community have endured has been because of structures and systems designed to work against us and to prevent us from getting ahead. If we didn't quite appreciate that before, now I'm not saying that self-will and personal responsibility plays no role, but if we didn't understand that the systems and structures are in place to make it harder for us to get ahead, we now, with all that has happened, with the dismantling of the Department of Education, with the big ugly bill, eroding SNAP benefits, Medicaid benefits, putting a cap on grant education loans for young persons seeking to go to college and to grad school if they so desire. If we did not understand how the courts work, how voting is an issue, if we never understood that before, we can understand now, because what they're trying to do is to erode more and more of these protections and rights and, dare I say, privileges, because they know that it's going to set us back all the more. And with that, we should now be inspired. When somebody's trying to push you down, it's time for you to push back.
All right, Sister Jennifer Jones Austin has joined us, but we're going to take a quick break. Dominique Sharpton and Sister Jennifer Jones Austin taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
So who is Al Sharpton anyway? Who is this 33-year-old preacher without a church?
A number of black New Yorkers as well. He is little more than a pudgy exhibitionist who can be counted on to show up, bullhorn in hand, at every racial incident.
I often quote Mark Twain saying, the two most important moments in life is the moment you are born and the moment you find out why you were born. I had a very troubling conversation the other day that prompted me to do this little video. Young man that I've known a while came to me and he was crushed. I mean, really crushed, because people were criticizing his work. He's in the ministry, but he's also an actor. And he said he couldn't understand why people were jumping all over, criticizing him, trying to find scandalous and derogatory things about him. And I told him, I said, you know, you very young. You don't know the road I've traveled. They call me everything but a child of God.
Racial discord, a blabbermouth, a loudmouth, too flamboyant, an agitator, a racist,
I
a race
had to
baiter.
learn.
Yeah, right.
I was not defined by how others saw me. I was defined by how I saw myself and whether I was being true to myself. Some of you watching this don't like me. And it doesn't matter as long as I know what I'm doing and I like me for being real. So I'm doing this video to say to you, whoever you are and whatever you do, you may not be in ministry or social justice, none of this stuff, but don't live your life worried about opposition or people that don't like you. You can turn that around. Use me as an example. The same people that call me a scam artist, a con artist, a sellout, or racial hustler and all, I kept going. And the people I respected started respecting and publicly embracing my work.
When Coretta Scott King, the widow of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., had this to say about Al Sharpton.
A leader who has protested injustice with a passionate, unrelenting commitment to nonviolent action in the spirit and tradition of Martin Luther King Jr. And I am talking about your leader, our leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
The other thing that hasn't changed is the National Action Network's commitment to fight injustice and inequality here in New York City and across America. And that's not only a testament to Reverend Sharpton, it's a testament to all of you who are here tonight.
First and foremost, to Reverend Sharpton. I saw him when he first came on the scene, and I have marveled at his tenacity, at the development of his intellect, and his devotion to our movement, and much he has contributed to the world we are experiencing. I am honored, and I must say that when I had my debate with Dr. King on the issue of the church and religion, he didn't warn me that after his departure, his space would be filled by another preacher, and that preacher would be Al Sharpton.
All you want in life is people that matter to you to say you did all right. And more important, that you can look in the mirror and say you did all right.
Thank you, Rev. Thanks for that introduction. Look, we've known each other for a long time. I'm grateful not only for your leadership and partnership, but quite frankly, more importantly, for your friendship. And thanks to all of you, members of our nation's most important civil rights organization.
You have been, over all of your years, such an extraordinary leader. You are a voice of truth, a voice of conscience, a voice of practicality around what we must address and what we can do. And I thank you so much for your friendship.
I remember that most of the youth around Al's age, he was about 12, wanted to be like Connie Hawkins, a great basketball player, legend, or Earl the Pearl, or Clyde Frazier. Al wanted to be like Adam Powell, a powerful preacher with a social justice gospel. He was very close to, at that time, the Reverend William Augustus Jones, powerful preacher and social justice advocate, and Reverend Gardner Taylor stayed right down the street, and Bishop Washington, whose church he came from, and Reverend Sandy Ray. He wanted to be like these giant preachers. He wanted them to have the edge, however, of the King's social justice dimension. He wanted to be like them, now he's one of them. Perhaps taller than most of them because of the risks he has taken and the reward God has given him with his gift. I remember so well that I first escorted him to jail. He was around 13 years old, with the jail fighting the ANP. He was in the lineage of our struggle. He grew up in it. We didn't just see him on TV one night. He didn't happen. He came bottom up, not top down. Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became rich off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves, they are our ancestors. They may be slaves of the present, but they're our ancestors, they're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans, they export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. It's the Africans, with logs and trees, built a wall around Wall Street, keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in today with Sister Jennifer Jones Austin. We're taking your calls across the country. You can join in on today's conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797. Sister Jennifer, I wanted to talk, of course, as you alluded to before the break, and certainly a lot of people, we've been talking about these issues in Texas and now, in many other areas, Buffalo and many other areas, and the implications, of course, of the Texas Democrats leaving the state to stop a redistricting vote. Wanted to, of course, get your thoughts on that. And, of course, are they going to succeed in preventing this redistricting vote? What do you think? Bring us to speed on what's going on. I know that, a lot of people have been chiming in on Congresswoman, Jasmine Crockett and many others. But we know, at the end of the day, this affects all of us in retrospect, right? Depending on where we live. And we're seeing this happening in Buffalo and other areas. So what do we have to look forward to?
Look like we lost her. Well, she's calling back. Hold on 1 second.
All right. Seems like we're losing Sister Jennifer. She's calling back with us. Sister Jennifer, are you there?
I heard your question. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. All
okay.
right.
So here's what I believe and what I'm concerned about. I appreciate the courage and the strength being demonstrated by Democrats to not just roll over, fighting back the way that they are fighting in the Texas legislature. The concern that I have is that they at some point are going to have to go back into session, or they'll be accused of actually not engaging in the people's business. And I'm not talking about Texas redistricting. I'm just talking about overall. And this back and forth can happen all the way until December. I understand that they can keep the Republicans can keep calling for this. The governor and the Republicans all the way through December. There's an expiration date in December, by which time you would have to have lines redrawn for the mid-year elections. But that's 4 months, 4.5 months out, and so I don't know how long they'll be able to play this back and forth, like this play this kind of checkers game, where they're not in the state of Texas, because you may start having the narrative being shifted to they're not there to do the people's business.
So what are the
that's a
potential
real
consequences,
concern.
though? Like, what are the consequences, and how can what would other Democrats in other states, what could their response be to derail this, or to make this more of an issue?
So I think that, I do appreciate the response that is being given by governors in other states, saying that they are going to, take it on themselves and they'll engage in gerrymandering. You do have to appreciate that when that happens, it then becomes this back and forth, and it can actually ultimately spiral out of control. I think that's the response. I think the work of continuing to amplify what is being done, but actually helping people to understand that, what is happening here is that you're actually taking away people's vote and their voice. So not everybody understands what gerrymandering actually means.
Right.
And what it means is that you're actually realigning districts so you can diminish the concentration of people who are inclined to vote a certain way. So you often see it where you're diminishing the black vote, the strength of the black vote. You're diminishing majority black vote. You're diminishing majority black vote so that black voters don't have a congressional leader representing them. And you're diminishing, in this case, you're diminishing the strength of the Democrats in a particular district. And so it's that type of thing, and people need to understand that that's the situation, that what is happening here is that they're actually trying to take away your vote. And they need to keep amplifying that so people understand what this actually is, what it actually looks like.
1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Mark. Mark is listening to us from Baltimore on WOLB. Mark, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Hey, how you doing, Dominique? I met you in the winter when we were, I think it was inauguration day. We was at the church.
Oh, Lord.
I was with Senator Young.
Okay.
Senator Young.
All right.
Yeah, and it was good to meet you. Rev, I am a native New Yorker, Baltimore. I love my Baltimore, but I'm a native New Yorker. And me and Rev about the same age. We actually had a mentor, Reverend Frankie Robinson. I lived in Rockland Center. He was my mentor, and he was Rev Al's mentor too.
Oh, wow.
And so that's my brother. That's my brother. But the Democrats, Dominique, the thing that they have to do, they have to stop letting them be divided. Far as because Jasmine Crockett, she right on it all the time. What's his name? Cory Booker and people like that. Al Green, because Donald Trump really needs to be Article 25 and impeached, and I believe Nancy Pelosi would have done that. And you can't have no Democrats voting with the Republicans. They got to stop dividing us with the progressive and the moderate of all that, because it's about right or wrong right now. It's about right or wrong. Every Democrat should be on the same page. No Democrat should be voting with Republicans. And I think Barack Obama and his the guy that used to be his attorney general, Eric Holder, and who else is on that panel? Those two and somebody else is on there. Our leadership should be sitting down with them, like people like Rev Al, people like that, and just like Nicole Wallace say, fight like Republicans. We got to take the gloves off, like Cory Booker said. We should have never had him on. With a 5-time sheriff sergeant coward in the White House.
All right. Thank you, Mark, for your call. Trisha online is saying, do you think they are doing this to highlight the issues for the Texas voters, to let them see what the Republicans are doing and not allowing them to do this without a fight? Yeah. Absolutely, Trisha. I don't know if there was, okay, Tanya's agreeing with you, but yeah, I think, as Tanya said, I agree, Trisha, very little seems to have been challenged in court and have a positive and real pushback, no trust in Congress and the Supreme Court. Sister Jennifer, the message board is lit, as Reverend Sharpton calls them, the message board. Thank y'all for your comments on watching us via live stream. We're going back to the phones, as I said, 1-877-532-5797. JJ from Arkansas is holding on line 2. JJ, you're keeping it real.
Yes, Dominique. How are you today?
All right. How are you?
I'm blessed. I'm calling, and this is for the attorney too. How we as a people, if we're a felon, we can't vote. But why is it a felon in the White House?
You're saying if we're a felon, we can't vote, but why is there a felon in the White House?
Running the country. Yes.
Well.
Yes.
Hey, look. That's simple because, wait, can I just tell you, the people who wrote the Constitution were the same people who were essentially holding people, human beings, as slaves, and were engaging in all types of immoral, unethical practices.
Yeah.
And so they decided they would write the Constitution in a way that would not prevent somebody who engaged in, immoral, unethical, and illegal activities from, being, not permitted to run for office. Yeah, they were protected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And he wants them to redistrict Texas because of Jasmine Crockett. He's scared of her. He done made his match with her. She know how to put him in check. Him and Green.
All right now.
Have a nice day.
Thank you, JJ. Thank you for your call. You got they call them in church, the amen corner is going off over here in the chat for Sister JJ. Thank you, Sister JJ. But no, I think that, we got to continue speaking truth to power. Saying, take your gloves off and fight back. That's what we need to do. We know that we got this march and other activities going on that we know that we can utilize our voice in a collective way to really amplify the causes. So we hope that you tune into that. But whatever it is, we've got to stay actively involved, and we have to stay committed to the change we want to see. I hear the music playing, so we're going to take another break. Dominique Sharpton, I'm sitting in for the Rev with Sister Jennifer Jones Austin. We're taking your calls. You can join the conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Of reference. 400 years later, it's time to do some assessing where we came from. While Alabama, Georgia, and South Carolina, and Mississippi take the hits, the real trade market for commerce and cotton was New York, the port of New York. As a matter of fact, Joe, the first state to end slavery was Vermont. It was all the way up the coast. The big shipbuilders became enriched off of our enslavement. Say our people are not slaves. They are our ancestors. They may be slaves of the person, but they're our ancestors. They're our foreparents. The money is made off of the commodity. We were the commodity in the commodity exchange. And they would import Africans. They export cotton and tobacco. And they built the whole economic system around Wall Street. Africans, because they feared the Indians would attack the Dutch, built a wall on Wall Street. That's what they named it, Wall Street. It's the Africans with logs and trees built a wall around Wall Street to keep the Indians from attacking the Dutch. So Wall Street was named after us. There's a burial ground on Wall Street, which we should all visit. Those are our foreparents. At some point, they moved us to the other end of Manhattan, which is Harlem. So we are on the same island as Manhattan. Manhattan, Harlem, Wall Street, on the same island. Harlem is right down the road from Wall Street. That's interesting that most of our leaders who argued different cases never quite got to march on Wall Street.
That was Reverend Jesse Jackson speaking at National Action Network's House of Justice in 2020, saying that we'd ignored dramatizing, putting the spotlight on the economic inequalities, the economic issues of this country by never having marched on Wall Street en masse. Well, on August 28th, 5 years later, we're going to do just that. Because with this big, beautiful bill, which is a big, ugly bill that cuts Medicaid and SNAP, with the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion programs and initiatives in the private sector, which gives blacks and others jobs, contracts for businesses, making sure we make the C-suite based on our merit and not excluded because we didn't have the family background in a given place, whether it be academic or business. The people that benefited from that are the ones on Wall Street that deal with the stock markets, that deal with the Dow Jones, that deal with making trade off of the decisions of those that supported the Trump initiatives in this area. So we are not this year going to Washington on the anniversary of the March on Washington. On the anniversary of the March on Washington, we're going to Wall Street. And Reverend Jackson, we're going to do what you said. Thousands of us are going to nonviolently but firmly come and say that the dream cannot be deferred by tax cuts for the rich and cutting those out that need food assistance, that need support with health care and other economic policies that have choked the middle class and the poor. August 28, 2025, go to www.nationalactionnetwork.net, get the details. Meet us 10 a.m. at the African Burial Ground and be ready to march. Buses are coming from all over the country. Go to that website or call 1-877-626-4651. No justice, no peace. Everywhere I go, whether it's in rallies and community gatherings or churches, on my radio show, people are saying the Democrats need to fight back. They're not standing hard on the issues. It's time to not let Trump continue to control the narrative. And that is what I'm raising tonight. Democrats need to stand up and fight back. And don't give an inch on the Epstein files. He promised his followers he'd come with the files. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. I didn't know anything about farming. But my mother was from Alabama. She took my sister and I to see our grandmother once in Alabama. And as we walked around a little farm, she told me, I'll tell you something about farming. You see that pen of hogs over there? I said, yes, ma'am. She says, if you throw a brick in a pile of hogs, the one that hollers is the one you hit. Every day since this whole thing came up, I've been hearing hollering from Donald Trump. Something hit him. We need to see the files to see what it is. That does it for me. Thanks for watching. I'll see you back here next weekend at 5 p.m. Eastern. But first, you can catch me tomorrow, Monday, on Morning Joe, right here on MSNBC, starting at 6 a.m. Eastern. The weekend primetime starts at the top of the hour.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me thank Charlie King, Dr. Richardson. Most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today. The Urban Action Network. I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. But I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Moseley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders. And I'm proud to acknowledge that debt that I owe. I appreciate Reverend Sharpton for being a voice for the voiceless and a champion for the dispossessed. And as we saw last week, he's still on the front lines, fighting a good fight. And we are thankful for his energy and his willingness to challenge the conventional wisdom. I'm also thankful that Reverend Sharpton has built this organization because what he understands is that change in America doesn't happen from the top down. Change happens from the bottom up. Change happens when millions of voices set the agenda and hold those in power accountable.
Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying, if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorn. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell it. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may tell you you are nothing from nowhere, but when they come to where they laid you, let you be gone on to somewhere else. I've been
keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton. I'm Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter. I'm sitting in for the Rev today. Rev is traveling. He's in Martha's Vineyard today, where he will be moderating and participating in a discussion around some of the cultural issues and action agendas that we, of course, need to really pay attention to and be mindful of and deal with today. We know that we are also galvanizing and mobilizing toward the March on Wall Street on Thursday, August the 28th. So Rev is doing a lot of mobilizing on the ground in various cities throughout the nation as we are mobilizing for the march. But we are joined, as we are every Thursday, by our own sister Jennifer Jones Austin, and we are taking your calls across the country. You can join in on today's conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We also have people that are joining us via the message board online, watching us via live stream on nationalactionnetwork.net. And we've been talking a lot, certainly, of course, with Sister Jennifer about a lot of the implications around the Texas Democrats as they are leaving the state to stop this redistricting vote. We've been talking about, if they succeed in preventing a redistricting vote, and is the Texas governor correct in stating what they're doing is illegal, and then furthermore, of course, what the potential consequences are for these Democrats, and what will Democratic governors in other states, do as a response. And of course, what does this back and forth and gerrymandering mean for the minority voter in these various states, and how these actions, of course, in opposition to the point of the Voting Rights Act that we just celebrated 60 years of the passage of, how this all correlates, of course, to the action agenda at hand. And of course, it's always a pleasure to have Sister Jennifer joining us. And Sister Jennifer, we've got a lot of folks holding on and a lot of folks that are commenting on the message board. So if it's all right with you, let's get right back into it. Let's go to Woody.
Let's get to it.
Woody's holding on line 3, listening to us from Philly on WURD. You're keeping it real. Good afternoon. Woody, are you there? All right, y'all. Somebody tell me what's going on. Woody? All right. If not, let's go. Okay, Woody. Hello.
Yes, hello.
All right,
Yes,
you're
ma'am.
on.
No, I was just saying, as far as I'm concerned, you're both champions. And to have two beautiful champions at the same time, I feel kind of blessed.
Well, thank you there, Woody.
I wanted you to know I missed your birthday, but happy belated birthday to you, because I think we're around that same sign, if you believe in
Thank
signs
you.
and all these other things.
Yeah.
Me and you are right on that same hookup there. So as it relates to the universe, I always believe that we live on Earth, but Earth lives in space.
Okay.
So as we speak, we're sitting in space, and a whole lot of stuff in this, that old song said, a whole lot of shaking going on. There's a whole lot of things going on as far as uniform and consistency. That's just the nature of things. And I always look at a woman as the example of what nature's all about. And I think that's why we call Mother Earth a mother.
All right.
I salute you, ladies. I just want to let you know that. And for all the work that you do, Reverend Sharpton has to be proud because he has somebody to fill right in that space without even thinking about it. So I just want you to know I feel that spirit. And when you come on, it's like he's on. So keep up
Thank
the
you,
good
Woody.
work. And Miss Jennifer, you are right on point with just about everything. I just would like to see more emphasis put on this issue of reading. And reading right here in our own area, 52% can't read at third grade level. We're talking about adults here that have graduated with diplomas as receipts for educational services never truly rendered. This is, as my mother would say, a sin and a shame. We have to do something about it. So I'm going to be tapping on your door, but if you have any ideas about what we can do, I believe I would love to hear what you think, how we could take the first step.
All right.
So, if I may I assist you, Dominique? May I
Of
say a word on
course.
that?
So Woody done sweat me off. I'm sitting here, my mouth hanging open like, okay, brother. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
We like Woody.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
Woody, I think you're spot on. You are spot on. I find that very often people will ask me in this moment, well, what can we do? What should we be doing? How do we fight back? And I think that fundamentally, foundationally, what we can do is actually get back to the basics, making sure that our children are reading and math proficient, making sure that they have the requisite skills to think critically. Why we keep thinking that the schools, many of which have already failed our children, are now going to come around, especially in this moment, and do better by them, is beyond me. Why do we think a system that has never thought to teach the masses how to think critically, when now they've been given the go-ahead to dismantle whatever equity activities were in place, what makes us think that that's now going to work in our favor? And so, I'm a big proponent of everybody from the D9 to, the Black faith community, these churches that are now, many of which are sitting vacant, not only on Sunday, but on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
Yes, ma'am.
Go into your pews
Yes, ma'am.
and look at the people. They may not be educators, but maybe they've had a job in the county. So get to the basics of teaching our children how to read and write.
Basic education starts with elementary. And if you've got a good elementary foundation, that is the beginning. So adults who need to go back, then go back. Get what you didn't get while you were there. That's the important part. Don't be embarrassed about education as it relates to the beginning of education. You build a good foundation, the building will stand. With a weak foundation, the building must fall.
Yes.
All right, Woody. Thank you so much for your call, and thank you for keeping it real, Woody. Todd, if you're there from Cleveland, can we come to you, Brother Todd?
Yes, I am.
All right. Good afternoon.
There's no if. Hey, Dominique.
All right.
Jennifer.
Hi.
So I read an article in Fox News dated yesterday, and an article in Reuters. I trust Reuters. Dated 2 days ago, referencing the Department of Agriculture Secretary. Last name is Rowland. Yeah, and the head of Health and Human Services, Kennedy, had worked together, and they've made a decision, along with the president signing off on it, that they are going to restrict people that receive supplemental nutrition, what we call food stamps. I don't know what that all stands for.
Assistance program. That's it.
They're going to restrict. They've already approved it 12 states, and they labeled them out in the articles that I read. That they're going to restrict 12 states from being able to use their cards to buy sugary drinks such as pop, candy, and they're putting some more things on the list that are not considered nutritional for the body. So I have a question about how this is going to work overall. There's some basic things I understand about people that receive that type of help in life. For one, I know the banks get 10 cents to 25 cents per dollar for processing processing that money that's turned in by the merchants. So, but they're not getting a reduction in what they're able to receive. The grocery stores, it doesn't really matter that much whether somebody's coming in and buying cakes or cookies or steak and chicken. They're going to receive that money because that's primarily where they're restricted to buy. At the grocery stores and places that sell groceries, and the companies that they can spend their money on are going to get it too. So I'm questioning. This appears to be pushing around the poor. That's what it appears to be to me, more so than saying that we just want you to eat healthy, so we're going to block you from eating some food, purchasing some foods. Where are you at with this? And take this into consideration too. We all know this. Everybody that's receiving those cards doesn't necessarily have a home to live in or a kitchen to cook in. So you take away their ability to eat something cheap and fast, you kind of put them in a spot. Where are you at with this? Because we talked about it a few months ago, and now it appears that it's here. They're going to do it to them. Where are you at with it, Jennifer, as far as policy? Has this been thought out? Has this been thought out well?
So remember, I live in New York City, and something that I don't know if I've ever shared before is that I worked for then Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and when working for Mayor Bloomberg, established the first ever food policy office for the city of New York, centering on improving the health and nutrition of New Yorkers. You want me to hold?
Yeah, I want you to hold if you can, Jennifer. Okay. And Todd, if you can hold, let's take a break. Dominique Sharpton sitting in with Sister Jennifer. Taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797. Get it in. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Over the weekend, President Donald Trump called for Vice President Kamala Harris to be prosecuted, falsely claiming yet again that Harris paid for endorsements from celebrities during her 2024 presidential campaign. In a rant posted on social media, Trump claimed that Beyonce received $11 million, that Oprah got $3 million, and that the Reverend Al Sharpton took home $600,000 to endorse the then vice president. We have a couple questions for you on this, but let's just start most simply with the accusation that President Trump has leveled at you. Were you paid for an endorsement?
Well, absolutely not. And as the FEC filings say, they helped the campaign, gave funds for Get Out the Vote campaigns for National Action Network, of which I'm a part of, and other civil rights groups, some which got more than National Action Network did. National Action Network, nor I, even endorsed her. What is interesting about this, though, is that the fact that this is as you accurately reported, second or third time, lawyers for National Action Network looking at, can we sue him for defamation? Because he had knowledge this time that there was no endorsement and that I didn't get any money. This went to the nonprofit that I'm connected to. But let's look at the larger picture here. Donald Trump is in very serious problems around this whole question of Epstein. So last week, he was trying to flood the zone to take any pressure off of him and try to put his MAGA base back together again. The fact is, he started by saying he's going to fire the Fed chief. That didn't work. Then he went on to something about tariffs. That didn't work. Then he decided to do what he started his political career on, start race baiting. Which was, he started with birtherism, that Obama wasn't born here. Then he went and released the files now last week of Martin Luther King Jr., some of which are very questionable, and the family was opposed to him doing it. That didn't work. The next day he goes after Barack Obama, saying he ought to be prosecuted. That didn't work. Then he tried something else. Then over the weekend, Kamala Harris, Oprah Winfrey, Beyonce, Al Sharpton. The race card, the thread here is race, and that's what he's trying to do. They're swapping money. They're doing things like Obama was holding back with Russia. It's all about trying to get past Epstein. We have shown in National Action Network and other groups what we did and didn't do in the campaign. Even when I spoke at the convention, I said we don't endorse candidates. We have come with our files. Release the Epstein files, Mr. Trump. Do what we did or be quiet. 1 year ago and change, 67 weeks ago, we started marching every Thursday, am I right, on the offices of Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman was the architect of ending DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusion. He started it. I want to give a little history because a lot of people get Negroitis and get confusion. I don't even mind your ego. Everybody need one, but you don't have to become contrary and duplicitous. We got to have integrity even among those with ego. So we started when they first came out against DEI. Now, Ackman and them started it going to Harvard University, forcing out the first black woman and first black president of Harvard. We went to his office and been going 67 weeks. I went first 10, 12 weeks. And this brother, stand up, Reverend Ron McHenry, coordinator House of Justice. This brother has been there every week. Many of you here in the audience have marched every week. So we didn't just get in this, We were in it the day they came at Claudine Guy. Last year's convention, we dealt with DEI. This year, we said that we're going at these corporations that had come out against DEI. Many of you, most of y'all I'm looking at was at the convention. And we hit Pepsi. Pepsi called and said, all right, we 8-9 days in, we agree to meet. And we went, purchased New York, chairman of our board, Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, and Carol Wallace, who's a special advisor to us on finance, and laid out to them that one, we don't care what you call it, DEI, IED. Y'all are gonna keep your commitments in terms of the black community. And that means we don't want special privilege, but we do not want to be specially excluded. This is not about we don't want merit. We feel if our people are at the table, we can beat anybody on merit in many cases. So we want from employment to your board, to how you deal with marketing, to who does your financial investment. We want to go across the board with that. Otherwise, if you don't want to deal with the question of diversity in how you do your business, then don't deal with diversity in your consumer base, because you don't believe in diversity. So we just will try to remove all the dollars we can from buying your stuff. In fact, I told the chairman, maybe the chairman of the board, maybe the CEO, I said, in fact, I learned that not from growing up civil rights, I learned that from Donald Trump. So what do you mean? I said, Donald Trump said he's gonna redo tariffs, that if he doesn't get what he wants for the country, they were gonna raise the tariffs. I'm doing the black tariff reverse. If we don't get what we want, I mean, y'all can't be for Trump and tariff and not be for us in the African American community with a tariff. Look at the story. We celebrated Good Friday and Easter just a couple of weeks ago. Well, there's a message in that. I heard a preacher talk about this the other week. The thing that people forget, I want you to keep this in mind, is they crucified Jesus. Those of us that are Christian believe they hung him on a cross, maligned him, mocked him. Wasn't enough to nail him. They mocked him, saying, if you be the king of the Jews, step down and deliver yourself. Mocked him. Ridiculed him. He wanted water, they gave him vinegar. Crowned him with a crown of thorns. When they should be giving you your celebratory, they're going to give you some attacks. But the end of the story was they went and laid him in Joseph's tomb. Didn't even have a family tomb. Didn't have insurance like some of us. Laid him in a borrowed tomb. But the third morning, this is the story they tell. The third morning, when they came to where they laid him, he wasn't there. My message is to you today that don't let them catch you where they laid you. They may kill your name. They may crucify your character. They may tell you you are nothing from nowhere, but when they come to where they laid you, let you be gone on to somewhere else. I've been called everything but a child of God. They said I'd be nothing going nowhere. They castigated us. They called us troublemakers. They called us loudmouth. And when they came to see me go to jail, I wasn't there. They can catch me on MSNBC now. They can catch me leading marches now. I serve a God that not only will go through the crucifixion, but will bring you through the resurrection. We're going to resurrect in the city. Stand up, black man. Stand up, black woman. This is our time.
He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. He said, don't us gravel and don't us moan, because God doesn't smile on us. God, let me say it. God has smiled on me. He has set me free. Let me say it. God has smiled on me. One more time. I want to say it real slow. I'll say God has smiled on me. He has
Radio, keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's daughter, sitting in for the Rev. He's traveling today, speaking in Martha's Vineyard. We've got Sister Jennifer Jones-Austin. I believe she's been having a little difficulties, but when she comes back, I know she'll chime back in. And certainly we're taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation today by calling us at 1-877-532 5797 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us as Rev says on the message board as you are watching via live stream. I know we were speaking with Todd from Cleveland before the break. Sister Jennifer is coming back with us. When she's back with us, she'll chime in. All right, there she is. All right,
Can
Brother
you hear
Todd, if
me?
you're still there,
I'm
yes,
right
we can
here.
hear you. Thank you. Todd, are you still with us?
Am I still here?
All right.
Excellent. So I just wanted to pick up and share that I mentioned that I created the first ever Office of Food Policy in the mayor's office in New York City. And it was because we were seeing that in communities where people did not have a lot of resources, disproportionately Black and brown communities in New York City, that we have what they call food deserts, where the communities were without fresh fruits and vegetables. They were without low-fat milks and milk alternatives. They were without, fresh, like fish and fresh meats. And a lot of these challenges create diet-related problems and often cause a lot of people who do not have a lot of resources and cannot go to other parts of the city to get healthy foods, causes them to actually lean more on foods that are high in fat, high in sodium, high in sugar that are bad for the diet. And what Mayor Bloomberg, you may remember this, Dom, what Mayor Bloomberg sought to do was he set out to put a ban on do you remember this?
Yes, I do, of course.
The
I
amount
was in
of
many
soda,
meetings. Yeah.
right? And there are a lot of people who are outraged about it. What I don't think he did a good job of helping people to appreciate was that every year in New York State, I'm talking New York State alone, New York State expends about $65 billion to combat diet-related diseases. Diseases caused from poor nutrition and the lack of access to healthy foods, fruits and vegetables, lean meats, and the like. And so while it looks in some ways to be authoritarian in nature, there actually is an objective. Now, I'm also on the side of just because you don't have resources shy of food support doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to enjoy a cookie. Doesn't mean that you shouldn't be able to enjoy, a fruit drink. And so I think we have to strike the balance. That's how I feel about this. There needs to be a balance, and just because you are receiving EBT food supports doesn't mean that you and your family can enjoy some food that brings people joy.
And can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
I'm here.
You have to take in consideration a large portion of the foods that we claim to be healthy because of pesticides and other things that are put in those foods really aren't as healthy as you might think. Sometimes you can make a strong argument if you know all that's in that tomato versus all that's in that cookie. They're about even, depending on how the tomato was cultivated. So my thing is this: I think it's a good idea on the surface. However, what they should have done, and they have the money to do this too through the tax dollars, I know, is say, first we're going to increase people's money that they can put on their cards by this amount, and the amount should be based on what it would cost them to eat healthy every single day. Okay, and then make a decision to say that, okay, you can't buy any cookies with these cards, or you can't buy any pop with these cards, and the government needs to be prepared for suit being filed on them by the Coca-Cola, Frito-Lay, and the other companies, because they're going to come back and say, "Hey, we know what's in that lunch meat behind that deli counter, and you're gonna keep our stuff out the customer's hands. We're not going for that. Be prepared for that. It's coming."
Yeah. Now, before you go, Todd, can you just tell those who aren't from the South or the Midwest or didn't have grandmas and aunties in the South or the Midwest what pop is?
Oh yeah. I forgot y'all on the East Coast a little bit behind. My mistake. Soda.
Soda pop.
Fructose latent syrup water.
Yeah. My grandmother is from Montgomery, Alabama. She said pop, so I knew exactly what he was like. Pop, I knew what that meant.
My grandparents are from Kentucky. I knew what pop was.
I knew what pop meant too. So thank you so much for your call. I wanted to also just say that there are folks on the message board that are chiming in about this conversation of healthy eating and education. OG Kelly said it's sad that some of the young single mothers don't know how to cook a nutritional meal for their own children. Well, I am a single mother. And I know how to cook a nutritional meal, so not all, but I do understand where you're coming from.
Right.
But yeah, the education, of course.
Some don't have the time though,
Yeah,
right?
but
Some don't
nutrition
have the
is
time.
definitely important, and you know, we definitely can talk about this all day, and as it relates to policy, as it relates to the access to, you know, quality foods and foods that, you know, are healthy for us and all of that. We have to continue the conversation and fight for that access, but it's definitely important. And as we are even raising these issues of, you know, the government assistance and the lack thereof in terms of SNAP and how benefits are being cut, we also have to have this conversation on, well, what is exactly accessible to us that is, you know, good for us. So definitely a good conversation to have. But I hear the music. We're going to take a break. Dominique Sharpton is sitting here with Jennifer Jones Austin taking your calls, 1-877-532-5797. You still got time to get on in there, get your comments in, or join us on the message board via live stream. But we'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
I had a thought this morning that I want to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones, who became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own, because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me with other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones. And too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Let me thank Charlie King, Dr. Richardson. Most of all, let me thank Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us all here together today. The Urban Action Network. I am proud to be a candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. But I am mindful that I wouldn't be here if it had not been for Reverend Al Sharpton running for president, and Carol Mosley Brown running for president, and Jesse Jackson running for president, and Shirley Chisholm running for president. They paved the way, and I stand on their shoulders. And I'm proud to acknowledge that debt that I owe. I appreciate Reverend Sharpton for being a voice for the voiceless and a champion for the dispossessed. And as we saw last week, he's still on the front lines, fighting the good fight. And we are thankful for his energy and his willingness to challenge the conventional wisdom. I'm also thankful that Reverend Sharpton has built this organization because what he understands is that change in America doesn't happen from the top down. Change happens from the bottom up. Change happens when millions of voices set the agenda and hold those in power accountable.
Oh, Rev, you know, you were right there
from the beginning
with the stuff that was going on in Brooklyn at that time, at Howard Beach. You were right there.
He had in one of the early movies, he had my name. Then he put me in Malcolm, and I wasn't even old enough to know Malcolm. So we've been through it all.
For those who see Malcolm X, it's 3 hours. But fast forward to the scene with yourself, Bobby Seale.
Right. Bobby Seale, Denzel, and me.
Yeah.
Denzel was on the set.
Now, let me ask a question.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, sitting in with Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, speaking with you all across the country and those watching us via live stream. Sister Jennifer, we're going back into it. We got some folks holding on that want to chime in. And before we got to get going, we want to hear from them. So let's go to Deshaun. Deshaun is listening to us from Washington, D.C. on line 5. Deshaun, you're keeping it real. And good afternoon.
Yeah, hello. Good afternoon. First of all, I believe that Jasmine Crockett is average at best. And second of all, I believe that our people have an unhealthy obsession with voting in general. Yes, you should vote, but you're only going to vote twice a year. There's no need to talk about it every day. Secondly, I believe that this is kind of difficult. But during the last election, I'm kind of glad that there was a small percentage of black men who separated themselves politically from black women. That's important because we got to destroy the gynocracy if we're going to rebuild a black family. And that's really all I had to say.
Okay. They getting these. Lord have. They getting interesting and more interesting during throughout the day. I'm telling you, Sister Jennifer. Brother Deshaun, you said is hard for you to say. It's hard for us to listen. Honestly speaking, I feel like we definitely need to vote. Can't forget about it. We can't lose one day not talking about it because our blood and things were shed and people died for us to get this right. So we have to literally honor the liberties. And the reason why we have to continue to fight so hard is because, they're trying so hard to take that liberty away from us in so many different ways. And we have to continue to, really stay involved with understanding the importance of not only using our voice, but the fact that our voice is so critical that people are doing things left and right every single day to try to suppress that voice. So we have to continue to uplift that voice. And so, we're going to talk about voting every day. We're going to talk about the importance of voting every day. And we're going to continue to encourage you, your family, your friends, your children, anyone who can vote to vote because it's that important. And I feel like even the liberty of us being able to hear your voice on this platform and for us to even be able to respond to it is a liberty that we fought for. So I appreciate these liberties.
Right.
And I appreciate the struggle and I appreciate the work that went into the struggle. So, Brother Deshaun, you called at the right time. And thank you for keeping it real. Let's go to Andre J., my brother, listening to us from Chicago. Andre J., you're keeping it real. I know you're gonna fire it up.
Good afternoon, Miss Jennifer Jones Austin. Good afternoon to you, Miss Dominique.
Good afternoon.
I called you last week to wish you a happy birthday. So I'll just say a belated happy birthday, Miss Dominique.
Thank you.
Because I did call you. You had left already. I can't leave that out. And Miss Jennifer Jones Austin, I hope that you are feeling well. I ain't trying to fight up this either, but I noticed that your father done set Deshaun straight many times, and he choose to call whenever you're on, Dominique. I noticed that when the Rev is on, when the Rev is on, he don't call because he know Rev is gonna push back and set him straight.
Well, he kept it short today, so that's all right.
That's good. So the first thing I want to say is that reading is important. We often talk about the kids reading, but to you and Miss Austin, I want to say the bigger problem is comprehension skills. It's not enough focus on comprehension skills. So the focus should be, why aren't the kids comprehending what they're reading? Well, there's many factors. Some come from broken homes, dysfunctional families. They might not be eating well. They might not be sleeping well. They might have to listen to mom and daddy argue before they go to school. There's many factors because from my understanding about comprehension, when I was in school, they had comprehension skills. So you can read things, but are you able to comprehend? So I'd like to say, if more focus is put on why the kids are not comprehending what they read, I think that would be a better focus than to just say that they're not reading, because the lack of comprehension comes off as a low reading score. And I don't see it that way at all. I think they're reading, they're just not understanding what they're reading. Second of all, I hope that they can find a way to
Wait,
allow
wait, wait,
these
wait, wait. You know
mothers.
what? Wait. Let me just say something to you. So
Okay.
you make a good point there. So there are two types of reading, and I'm not an educator, but what I've been helped to appreciate is that there are two ways that reading is assessed. One is what they call basic reading, like skills and abilities, and another thing is called proficiency. And then another is like I should say three. And then the third is comprehensive reading, and like the essentially translation critical reading. And so, yes, children can read very often their A's and their B's, and they can put words together. They can phonetically sound out words. But what they're finding is that that doesn't necessarily mean that they are able to comprehend what they're reading, and give it meaning. And that's where we have to do a lot more work. So, you can have a kid pick up a book, and they've been taught how to connect the letters together, how to sound out the words and sound out the letters, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they are understanding the meanings of those words, and then in turn that they're understanding when the words put together what it means in a sentence. And that's where we're seeing the struggles. And I want you to also appreciate it is something that disproportionately impacts Black children, but in the nation on the whole, we got a problem with children reading for comprehension, reading and understanding critically what they're actually reading. It's like 30% of children across the nation are well reading in that position. They can't comprehend and help you to understand and let you know that they understand exactly what they're reading. The problem.
Yeah. Thank you for that enlightenment, Ms. Austin. I appreciate it. When you talk about the SNAP benefits, I hope that they find a way to allow these mothers to use it, because we got a lot of mothers in poverty, and they use that SNAP card to buy a birthday cake and ice cream for them kids to have a birthday party. That's one of the few options that they got. See, they can go to the dollar store. They can buy a pack of 48 forks for $1.25. They can get plates and napkins for $1.25 each, and they can turn around and buy a birthday cake or some ice cream with their SNAP card. So I think it would be an impact, because if you're not happy, now we get back to comprehension. If you know that you wasn't able to have a little birthday party with your friends and neighbors on a budget, then that might affect them as well, because the other kids that's coming to school talking about they had a birthday party, they had something that's not going to look right or make them feel right if they wasn't able to have none. So they ought to reconsider the limitations that they want to put on these SNAP benefits. I think it could be a problem. My last thing with you, Ms. Austin, is that this is a legal thing here. I always got to throw me some legal in there. I was saying that in light of this incident in Texas, I would like to see Eric Holder and all the other attorney generals, even our attorney general here, Kwame Raoul, all of them get together and put a letter together and be proactive and send it to the Supreme Court, asking Justice Roberts and all these other right-leaning justices not to take away people's voting rights and disenfranchise people by going along with this bogus redistricting map.
Yeah.
I'd like for them to have done that, to be proactive. So my legal question is that possible? Can they do that? Can all of them get together throughout all of the 48, 50 states or what have you that want to see fairness in these elections? Can they get together, put a letter together, and be proactive and send it to the Supreme Court and ask them not to side with this and to rule in favor of the people?
Good question.
That's what that's all.
I mean, they can put together a letter. The challenge, and we've seen that, to your point, we've seen them take a stand on several critical issues. The problem that we have right now is this Supreme Court, those appointed by Trump, if they can find a way to give him what he wants, then they will. And so letters don't actually have letters. How do I say? Letters indicate the will of a certain group of people, and in the case of former attorney generals and sitting ones, they demonstrate an appreciation of the law and of knowledge and of procedure, and abiding by the Constitution, but they don't necessarily, sadly, as we've seen, move the bench if the bench can find a way to wiggle out and support Donald Trump. That's the problem. The letters don't have any legal holding or any legal binding.
Okay, well, if the
interesting.
Supreme Court does rule in effect, I think that there should be a massive protest against the Supreme Court. Thank you all. Y'all have a good rest of the day. And Dominique,
yes.
Thank you, Brother Andre J. No, that's the serious stuff there. Also, Sister Jennifer, before we have to go, I didn't get your take on this. I don't want Brother Fatine to send me a note later and say you didn't follow directions, but wanted to get your take before we close out, because I know it's going to go into our discussion going into the show tomorrow about quickly about the firing of the commissioner for the Bureau of Labor Statistics. What's your take on that, please? We didn't get to really talk about it.
Quintessential Donald Trump. It's like if he cannot if the message doesn't work for him and he can't retract the message, then what he seeks to do is to discredit the messenger. Right now, like the job results are the job results. You don't like the job results; they don't favor you. So now, what you're going to try to do is to distract people, detract from the real issues, and try to shoot the messenger. It's disgusting. It's despicable. It's quintessential Donald Trump.
Yeah, but the data, the data, itself, right? But will the public, be able to trust it, from the department moving forward? That's the question.
Well, this is what I'll say to you, and I'm still thinking on this one. But when he put out the Martin Luther King, the FBI released the FBI files on Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
The thought was that many felt that he was doing it to discredit, attempt to discredit Martin Luther King Jr. If you read the files, a lot of what was published and put out there, what they showed was that it was really a lot of an attack on the FBI and the CIA for what they then said looked like illegal behavior, that they were surveilling him when they shouldn't have. Mm-hmm. They were actually, it was alleged they were fabricating information about him. So, I'm left to wonder, was Donald Trump trying to, discredit Martin Luther King Jr. by releasing the Martin Luther King Jr. files? Or was he trying, when he's coming under attack on the Jeffrey Epstein case, was he trying to essentially discredit the law enforcement of the land so that whatever might come out, if something comes out concerning him, he could say, you can't trust the FBI. That's how this man works.
Woo! I know we look at the message board going. The message board is lit up now. Numbers don't lie, Trump. Quintessential. I can't even repeat that because they said we are not cursing on keeping it real, but save section 2. All right, people are going in. SCJ Clarence Thomas is bent on destroying the Voting Rights Act. That's his mission. All right. Thank you so much, Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, as always. I know we're about to get up out of here. I want to thank you. I want to thank our executive producer, Fatim Muhammad, our tech producer, DJ Phil, and our phone tech and segment producer, DJ Wire. Thank you to all those who called through and kept it real with us this afternoon. Please remember, Politics Nation without Sharpton is on every Saturday and Sunday afternoon on MSNBC, starting live at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And this Saturday Action Rally and Broadcast with Rev begins live at 9 o'clock a.m. on Impact Television and 107.5 WBLS FM. Thanks to all those that messaged us on the message board today on live stream. And as Reverend Sharpton says, wherever you go, whatever you do, and however you feel, make sure you tell someone that Reverend Al, I'm telling you too, Dominique is telling y'all, you got to keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. We'll talk with y'all tomorrow.